You're watching Plus TV Africa, where the big stories live, and this is Tea Time, a program specially dedicated to the really big entertainment stories. Hello and welcome to the program. I am Tokumbo Taiwo, together with my co-anchors Lakpe Banjo and Ife Oshinkeye. Hola.
Hello. Hola.
Hola.
Alrighty, so what's new this morning? Anything exciting?
I found that this whole Tiwa Savage and T-Bill saga.
Oh, before you start, you went out last night, didn't you?
I did.
You weren't going to talk about that. You trust me to bring it up.
Did
Yes.
Yeah.
Where did you go?
It was a party, wasn't it?
It wasn't a party to
Oh, yes, it was.
It wasn't. I just went to chill and hang out
Okay,
Where?
with the ladies.
around town.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah,
She
it
doesn't want
was
to
a girls'
spill.
night out.
Okay, back to Tiwa Savage.
Nice.
What do you mean? Anyway, Tiwa Savage. So somebody commented on T-Bill's photo and said that, you know, in light of, you know, their back and forth lately, somebody commented and said that, you know, he hopes Wizkid will just leave this man's wife alone and let them be together. And that he's been watching that they're like flanter, as I'd like to put it.
Okay,
Flirtation.
so flirtation, okay.
And he basically said that T-Bill's replied and said, "Oh yeah, thanks for your microscopic eyes."
No, I
but-
think the guy said he could still see love in T-Bill's eyes, and the girls, then T-Bill's was like, you have microscopic
Okay.
eyes.
So, Lakme, are you going to eat your words or not?
No, because that just proves that there's nothing there.
No, that doesn't prove anything.
does. It
Because
goes
he
back
said
to
it in a jovial manner. Guy, you get microscopic eye.
Listen,
It's possible
I'm
maybe
gonna
you don't
stand
see
by. Yeah, well, fair enough.
You're still
but
standing?
I'm going to stand by my initial point that I
Okay.
think that they're just friends and they're co-parenting, and that's
Okay.
fine to have a bit of banter.
Well, that's a possibility too.
Yeah, they're just co-parenting.
Alrighty, we're moving on to our first story. We've got scoop on Davido, Lindsay Lohan, Falz, and a little bit on Donald Trump. We're starting first with Lindsay Lohan, who says the Me Too advocacy makes women look weak. And I saw this and I was like, very interesting. Let me, delve deep into it. Because what she is saying is that when it happens, that they should report the case to the police and talk about it there and then and not leave it like years later, because we've had so many instances where they're accusing people and it's been like 16 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and it's so not on, and she's saying it should stop.
I think I had a look at it and I feel like it's taken slightly out of context.
Okay.
Yes, what she's saying does make sense in the sense that women should say it when it happens. Like she's encouraging, the future generation of women, look, when this thing happens, don't be scared to not talk about it. But we're talking about two different times, right? Back then, women couldn't say these things without, crying wolf. People would say that they don't believe them, and their careers were at risk.
But what she's saying is that they should have reported to
the
the police, and the
police, like, get
can't
a
do
Yeah, but
police
that.
that's what I'm
report.
trying to say though. These women that it was happening to, let's not forget that the Me Too movement started within Hollywood.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of these women were being harassed and sexually harassed whilst they were trying to kind of build their careers. So they didn't want a situation where they'll go to the police. And a lot of the time, let's be honest, when they investigate these things, it's hard to prove. It's very hard to prove. It's a bit like, only thank God for now that rape is very taken seriously. Like, it's hard to prove these things. So if you run the risk of being strong and courageous and saying it, but then you obviously face the consequence of losing your job, being labelled as this girl that said this and this, and lose every opportunity. You kind of have to weigh it up. And back then, it wasn't okay for women to just come out. Even now, like
Some women still struggle.
Yeah, even now, the women that say it, like they have to make sure that the backlash that comes as a result is something that they can deal with. So you can't really dismiss and say. I do agree that women should speak up about it, but I think saying that they look weak now is a bit. You shouldn't really say that because it doesn't. In fact, it makes them look strong. The fact that they can live with that for 16 years and still have the courage to say it now. Because really and truly, like if you didn't say it 16 years ago, you just live with it till you die, really. But then they're still coming out to say it, and they're encouraging a younger generation of women.
Okay,
not
but
to hold
although I
this.
understand where you're coming from, I have to say, just me personally, like, I also see where Lindsay's coming from.
In the sense that it makes them look weak.
Not weak. What I'm saying is that they should report the case as and when it happens, regardless
but
of the
I've
times.
True, but I've just given you reasons why.
know,
It's hard. I know, I get it, but I'm saying it's hard to prove.
Yeah, let me come to Ife.
Lindsay Lohan, thanks for vindicating me. Now I'm a free man.
No, but I agree with you. I always said women should say it. I said women should say it at the time. Like, don't wait for 6.
But when I was saying the Me Too movement was making women look weak, like
you say that?
everybody is just jumping on the bandwagon
No, that's
because
different from making
that
them
is
look
what
weak.
was trending then.
So that's not what
she said. But that's not what she's saying.
Everybody came at me telling me no.
wait,
Did
that's
he
not
say
what
that?
she's
Did
saying.
did you?
Yes,
did
I
he,
No, he
did
did. He
say
did
that.
say
Oh,
that.
okay.
He said that they're jumping on the bandwagon.
Yes.
At the time we spoke about
Yeah,
it.
but
Yes.
that's not what she's saying.
No, hold on. I haven't concluded my point. I said they were all coming at me, but my standpoint was, look, when these things happen, even if you do not have the strength, you can make an anonymous report at the police station, and then let them do their investigation and find out. If you're saying, as at that time, women could not come out to talk about these things because of the
there's no way
backlash.
that you would have reported to the police and they're doing investigations without your name being mentioned. And some of the
Yes,
time,
but it
people
doesn't
were
have
scared
to
of
be
the
in
scandal
the
that it
media.
was
It
caused.
didn't have to be in the media.
You know what?
Wait,
Like,
hold
can I
on.
just-
Hold on,
can I
please.
just
Can
say-
I just end my point?
Yeah.
Then Lindsay Lohan saying this, she even said, I'm probably going to hate myself for saying this. She said that in a statement because she knew a lot of people would still come for her for saying this. But what she's saying is actually true. I think it makes a lot of women look weak. It makes it look like you can't stand alone, you're indecisive, and you cannot make your own decisions for yourself. Now, you need somebody to push you out there before you come out and speak the truth. That makes you look weak. And women are way, way stronger than that. We know women carry us in their womb for 9 months. They are strong. They are the backbone of every man. And then you're making yourself look like, oh, without this other group of women, I cannot speak.
You know what, Lakwe? Ife is swaying me right now because he's making valid points, and I can't help but come to you.
You know what? I'm not even going to bother. Like, I'm not going to go into that conversation. The point I'm trying to make is that these people were. I'm just not going to entertain that part of the conversation. But the point I'm trying to make is that these women were saying that men that were so popular were top of the game, like, for example, Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, and so on, were like at the height of their careers, and they were the most famous people ever. You really want this tiny little girl to come and say, he's been touching me inappropriately, he's been molesting me, and think that they won't pay off the police? Or you think that corruption doesn't exist? You think that people will sit there
but at least you spoke up.
When we're talking about sexual harassment, we're not just talking about, or the Me Too movement.
The Me Too movement is specific to Hollywood. Let's be clear. We're not talking about women that come out and say that that man over there harassed me. We're not talking about that. We're talking about in an industry whereby people are popular, people are famous, and it's scandalous for these things to happen. It's scandalous even now, how many years later, and it's still something that they run a risk of having ruined careers.
Can I paint a scenario?
Okay.
Can I paint a scenario?
So I need just
okay,
one
let
more
me just paint a
person to
scenario.
finalize.
Imagine Constance, the lady who accused Bill Cosby, came out at that time as a young girl, came out to say this. She got all this backlash and all of that. Then the Harvey Weinstein issue came up. Right now, now that we're speaking, and then it blows out, and then she comes back out. Do you know that she would be more of a hero, and people will probably owe her a lot of apologies because, look, she spoke then. The issue is when those things happen, speak up. Do not be afraid. You are a strong woman.
That's why I support Lindsay. That's why I support Lindsay.
That's
but
all
I
we're
think
saying.
Lakwe is still no. I think we're going to have this argument after the show because we're not going to agree.
No, we won't because we won't win.
No, there's no. The conclusion
point.
is the conclusion. I'm not going to trivialize the situation. The conclusion is that women should, however you feel comfortable, say it when you feel like it. You don't have to say it as a result of being pressured
into saying it.
It makes you look weak.
You have a point. Time for a quick break. When we come back, we'll be giving you scoop on Files and Davido. We won't be long before we come back.
Today's top stories are
and the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. I'm here at Eunice Bashorin Street where
the fire destroyed our transformer completely.
the lowest level you can.
I'm Lakwe Banjo. This is Plus TV Africa. The big stories live here.
Big stories live here.
Big stories live here.
Welcome back. You're watching Tea Time on Plus TV Africa. Up next is Scoop on Falz, Simi and Kemi Adetiba as they react to the National Broadcasting Commission ban on This Is Nigeria. So this actually came out yesterday when they, made the ban, and it happened in Jos. And Falz has definitely reacted this morning.
Yeah.
So I don't know what your reaction to this is.
I just felt this is Nigeria. Where we are.
Exactly. And that's what some people said on social media.
And do you know what, like, other than what Ife just said, which speaks volumes on its own, it's the fact that this is why we have artists that aren't encouraged to make conscious music.
Advocacy.
Yeah, they can't say certain
up.
things. Like, the other day we're talking about Fela and like who's kind of taken the baton off of him to like do the whole conscious music thing. Yeah. It's really hard because like, the establishment is against you, as it were. Like, you can't say things because you'll be pulled down. They'll use law against you to like make it sound. I mean, this is like the third time someone. Well, first of all, it was Murik. Now. The NBC want to ban it, and like other people have come out and said that this song shouldn't be allowed to be played. And within its like first 2 days or something, it got like over 1 million views. Yeah. Like so, whatever you try to do in this digital age, you can't really stop. You can't censor people's like ears from the truth. You cannot hide the truth from people now because we have other avenues of listening to music. So I was reading a comment. Someone was like, "Yeah, but we all have it on our phones anyway."
Exactly.
Like, and which we do. We've all seen the video. We've all heard the message, and the job has been done. The message Falz was trying to preach
has been passed on.
So whatever you do 2 months later to try and pull down his message just proves what he's saying. Yeah. It justifies everything that he's been trying to say. Like, and it's just gonna encourage him to say more. And it's just gonna give
because
him
he actually said that expect me.
Vulgar.
I was watching Al Jazeera yesterday where Femi Kuti was on a show where they were asking him about how come a lot of Nigerian musicians are not advocating for social issues, political issues, and the only person Femi Kuti could remember that was advocating was Falano. He didn't even know him as Falz.
Yeah.
He called him Falano. Do you understand? So that is somebody that is doing something great and is taking it out there. And then you're now saying because he said, this is Nigeria, everybody be criminal. How is that vulgar? Now, they are finding the radio station that played that song and the sum of 100,000 naira. Why would you do that? So a lot of people reacted. Kemi Adetiba was like, this movement will be televised. They can't stop it. Do you understand? Simi too was like, this is Nigeria, with the crying emoji, and everybody was just sad. Even Vector reacted to this. And then Cess on the beat was like, more vulgar coming. Then Falz was like, okay, that they haven't even seen anything yet. Because this is somebody that is advocating for social issues, political issues, and is doing something that we haven't seen since the time of Fela Kuti, since the time if Femi is even still doing some advocacy, but it's not as popular,
and it's not this obvious.
Now somebody's doing something great. Instead of us to all give him a standing ovation and be like, yes, you're doing a great job, you're helping our country great, but here we are finding a radio station.
And not even that, let's look at the timeline of Falz as an artist, as a person, right? His dad is a human rights lawyer, very outspoken, condemns the establishment.
He's a lawyer himself.
He's a lawyer. Falz has gone on to study law. He's his son. What do you expect? And then, on top of that, Falz started off as a comedian on Instagram, did funny skits and stuff like that. No one really took him seriously initially. Then decided to become an artist, was doing a lot of trivia, like, the general popular music. And then, suddenly, he's found himself, he's doing a lot of activism, saying things that need to be said. And he hasn't just stopped at This Is Nigeria. He's done the one about sexual abuse. So it's not just the trend. It's not just one.
I want to ask you something quickly before we round up. Let's look at the lyrics. Do you personally find it vulgar? Because
Absolutely.
I know you hang out with Her Majesty the Queen, so...
I wish. Absolutely not. I don't find this vulgar in any shape or way, shape or form. I mean, there's a lot of vulgar music out there which the NBC bans anyway. Do you know what I mean? Stuff that we don't even know what the meaning is, and like slang terms. But then you want to ban something that tells the truth and awakens the youth, as it were, at such a critical time. To ban that, for me, it is really unsettling.
All right,
and
then.
it just proves his
I
point.
think you should conclude, and then so that we can move on.
Well, I just say, Falz, words, keep up the vulgar words, keep them coming. We would keep listening, we will keep buying. We need these words to be heard.
More power to
Thank you. More power to you, Fowls. This movement shall be televised.
Yes, I can sense a change coming. Up next is Scoop on Davido, who has finally dropped a new video for Unwa Baby. So I was having a look at this video this morning and I was like, seriously, it does look quite nice. And I think he shot it in America, didn't he?
Locked up, they won't let me out.
Doesn't he shoot most of his videos in America?
Was
But do you know
that's
what,
a
right?
great
I
song.
feel like, yeah, the video is great actually. And I'm always really impressed with Davido's videos. They're always really well shot. The locations are great. The story is really told really well. Now, what I find really interesting is since the era or the season of Chioma, he's become like a lover boy. Like he's doing a lot more love songs and he's doing a lot more romantic songs. You know, he's showing his emotions a lot more, which is great. I mean, it's nice. It's a nice time. And also, I guess wedding season is relevant because he'll be playing a lot at weddings and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's great. It's a nice little way to diversify his portfolio.
Okay. There's only one thing I want to say, Davido, your team is doing a great job. Davido hasn't been out of the news all through this year. He's been relevant all the way. And his team, they are very strategic about their planning. Look, he released the video of the song and the audio 12 a.m. today.
After the private jet landed.
True. And then look, it's everywhere. It's a great song. It's a great video. He told us about the song in July 26th, telling us that he just recorded one of his greatest songs, Toss Yet. And we were expecting, that was when he also asked his fans to pray for him, that he just had a feature that may change his life. He didn't tell us when he was going to release this song, but he released it while we were all sleeping. And then we all woke up, maybe you woke up.
Beyonce style.
Yeah, you went to pee and then you're like, oh, Davido just dropped this, and then and then people were like, they downloaded it at 3 a.m. and they listened to it till 6 a.m. I saw a lot of comments on Twitter. Twitter has been thrown into a frenzy over this. And I just think Davido, I'm not even talking about the music now. I'm just talking about the great work he is doing and his team is doing.
You know, when sometimes artists release pieces of music, sometimes it doesn't grow on you, or
Too much
instantly. Maybe it's after you.
I have that relationship with Davido.
Because I'm I'm glad you say that.
His music grows on me. Assurance, when it came out,
I was like, what?
Stand that song.
I'm glad
and now
you say
I really love it. Yeah,
I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, most of his songs I don't like initially because there's really catchy, cheesy, and then after
but I
a while.
have to say though, If was one song I loved.
Yeah, straight away. Yeah.
I'm Fire.
Yeah, that's true.
Fire.
But I find that his
Assurance,
yeah, Assurance, I agree with you as well. I didn't like it initially, but I find that whenever he releases videos with the song, you automatically like it.
Yes,
because he always does that. He doesn't just.
And then that video was just amazing. The fact that he got played by that girl that he thought he was in love with was just the twist to the video was really amazing. Good. Yes.
But then were we wrapping up?
No, go on.
I was just going to say that just to be really shady, because I feel like being shady is Friday. Davido, I really hope you wrote this song by yourself, and also as well.
What if you discover it's techno?
Oh well, he'll thank him, won't he, this time again?
Go on.
But I find that
speaking of techno, I have something to say.
Oh, is it controversial?
It's about what you said yesterday.
Oh, okay. I also find that Davido, every time he does songs like this and he releases videos and stuff like this, he always uses lyrics from other people's like legendary songs, and that's what catches you, you know.
Okay.
Like this time it's Akon. The other time it was Are You Done Talking? Have you heard the original of that?
I know the one then the other part when it was Biggie Biggie.
Yeah, he always does that and it catches you. But yeah, that's a really good style. Well done.
Right.
Okay, can I quickly talk about the
techno?
All
right, then.
I listened to the Ciara and techno, and trust me, I think that song has a little bit of Afrobeat in it. Yeah, I think it has some African twist.
It's a bit watered down, don't you think?
Yeah, it's been watered down, and Buki got really mad at me. Buki, I'm sorry, I'm apologizing on live TV.
Let me ask you, Lakwe, because I think she's probably going to be the one on the middle ground here. Do you agree that it's Afrocentric or not?
Listen to it again. The beginning. Have you listened to the full version?
No.
The full. Now, please go and listen to the full version.
Do not be deceived by him.
I mean,
Okay.
Just listen to the full version.
I think it's a mixture of both.
It's a mixture of both.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. On that note, we're going to take a quick break, but don't you worry, we'll be back before you know it.
I actually moved back to Nigeria to open a bakery. This was my goal. And everything I did up till this point was in preparation for this. First of all, life was great because I moved in 2015 right before the recession, right? It was awesome. I was like, wow, there's so much money out here, man. The cost of overheads, power generation, water, you have to be your own local government. And there are no tax breaks. Many places where, where they realize the small business environment is difficult would offer some kind of tax breaks and incentives. We don't do that out here. We want you to come back. We want you to, to start businesses here, but we're not going to do anything to help you. All my experiences in the past have led me ultimately to where I am now.
Welcome back. It's still tea time right here on Plus TV Africa, and we're swiftly moving on to our next story. Hollywood's Walk of Fame vandalized with dozens of Donald Trump stars. Yes, this is not the first time. It's not the second time that something of this sort has happened. I don't know why they're like
still bother refurbishing it every time. So someone's going to come along
protesting via the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I really don't get it. But let me get Ife's reaction before we even.
Okay, so on Tuesday, the West Hollywood State Council came to a unanimous decision saying that because of Donald Trump's treatment towards women and a lot of other things, they think the stars should be taken out completely. Since it has been vandalized severally, and they think it should be taken out completely. So, what should I call it? A group or a group called the Faction, or they call themselves the Faction. They have come out to take responsibility, saying that you must think you're the mayor of Hollywood, saying you're going to take down Donald Trump's stars, that take it down and 30 more will pop up. And then they actually filmed themselves putting up over 50 Donald Trump stars. Like,
so if they take this out, more is going to come.
More is going to. Now, this was just a sample. Like, you haven't even taken it out, and look at what we can do. And this is being sponsored by an anonymous entrepreneur.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, wow. And then I know today, actually, I found this out today. There's actually something called TDS. It's actually
Donald Trump syndrome.
Yeah, the Donald Trump Donald Trump dysfunction system or syndrome.
I think it was syndrome.
Yeah, system or syndrome.
Okay.
And it's defined as people that do not like Donald Trump to the point that they begin to drop every form of reason and logic and just hate on Donald Trump.
Yeah,
and I checked this up on the Urban Dictionary, and it's also in Wikipedia, and I'm like, what?
Two terrible sources of information.
Yeah, I know terrible source, but the fact that you can even find it online is disturbing.
Yeah, I know. You'll be
understand?
surprised the amount of
What
things
you can find.
the things that come out of America that they try and make
I'm like,
official.
And then CNN calls it the Trump journey or something
They've
like
got
that.
it as well.
Do you understand? So if CNN can acknowledge that
That's because
syndrome.
CNN agree. Like, they agree with
Yeah,
that.
they agree
have
with it,
that
yeah,
syndrome.
because, I agree with you on that one.
No, honestly,
So-
yeah, you're right. I think it's crazy. I think Americans are just...
Okay, but let me ask you, what you think, because, I don't know, protesting in this kind of way, what's your take on that?
Well, it's not exactly long-term and it's not effective. It's just like an initial short-term form of frustration.
To gauge a reaction?
Yeah, like just to vent. And to get reaction. Because, like you said earlier, it's not the first or second or the third time that this thing's been destroyed. So the fact that a group has now emerged suddenly and is allowed to, like, recreate like numerous amounts of stars on the floor just goes to show that this kind of protesting doesn't really work. I mean, he's in power.
Yeah.
Like, the real issue is what kind of people do you live with in that country that voted that kind of person into power? But you know what? I'm not really anti-Trump like that. I'm very like on the fence with Trump. So, I mean, that kind of protest for me doesn't really work.
But they were careful though when they were putting up the stars, because they said they didn't want to get
seen.
Hit from behind by somebody who is
Because there's stickers, aren't there, and they can be
so it was until they were done laying on the stars. So people just saw them because they had the jackets on, the work jackets. So people who saw them thought they were just walking on the stars. So it was when they were done, they started peeling off the Donald Trump so that you can actually see that this is for Donald Trump. But I'm wondering, will these people be arrested?
Who, the people
Yeah,
creating
the people who did this
Oh, of
now.
course, if they get caught, they can't be
Because
seen to
they,
get caught.
in the video, we could see their faces. Do you understand? So it's not like
No, are you talking about the people destroying or the people creating?
no, the people creating the extra
No,
stars.
why would they be
they still
arrested?
call them vandals because they're vandalizing the Hollywood
Walk of Fame, yeah.
Do you understand? They still call them vandals. So I'm wondering if they are going to get arrested. And did
He
you
will
guys
get
know
arrested,
that the
because
guy?
the last one he actually walked himself. He gave himself in. The
And do you
last
know he
one.
got bailed? Do you know who bailed him out?
Who?
The guy who used the pickaxe to destroy 2 years ago.
Oh my
was the
goodness!
same guy who bailed him out.
Wow.
Do you understand? Like,
So they're
It's
working in
America.
harmony. Then it's
I
like they
think
know
this is
each
where
other.
we say this is America.
Oh.
Do you understand? It's
That's
just
the only thing I can say.
It's
These
just a
kind of-
movie.
Yeah, America is just...
Okay, Lakme, I think you should round up for us, and then
Like if I said, I think that's the only way to conclude it. This is America. On a side note, though,
Yes.
on a very quick side note, in terms of like America and all the crazy things that comes out of that country, has anyone seen Who is America? And it's got Sacha Baron Cohen.
Sasha. Yeah, we talked about it some time
Yes.
back. You weren't here.
Oh
yeah.
my God, it's hilarious.
spoke about
Yesterday,
it.
yesterday, Trump's
And what's the name of that senator?
The one that-
senator, the member of the
house,
House, yeah.
the guy that
America.
said look, the kids should have guns.
You know,
No,
the guy
the
that
one
went
that pulled
butt
his,
naked.
Oh, him! Oh, the
Yeah.
gun, yeah, the
What's his
NRA
name?
guy.
Steve something.
I can't remember what his name is, but that guy, yeah, took off his trousers. But yesterday's episode was about Trump and him endorsing sexual harassment.
Trump was on the show.
No, somebody that Trump endorsed, but they put Trump's clip in it.
Right, we need to wrap.
I was so scared. I thought Trump was on the show.
No. But yeah, no, this is America. I mean, this is the kind of things that they do in America. Not surprising.
All right, and on that note, we come to the end of the program. Join us this afternoon for another episode of Tea Time. But before we go, my thank yous, as always, go to my co-anchors, the production team, as well as our stylist, courtesy of Kudi Empire. I'm Tokumbo Tayo saying goodbye in Spanish. Hasta mañana.